Let's get into it. Episode 649 of the Soul Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan sitting down with some men who are all about freedom of speech. And right now, Joe kind of drifts back into a little conspiratorial land a little bit. Now, Sam Tripoli was on his podcast. Sam Tripoli said, you guys want to know what's next? They all sat and listened. Sam Tripoli started talking about immigration and how the LGBT stuff is going to go away. Not the community, but just the focus on it is going to go away, and everybody's going to start focusing on immigration, and then that's going to turn into some kind of rioting or tension between, U.S. citizens and people who are here illegally. Now, I think that's kind of true. We have seen the focus kind of go away from the LGBTQ community, just like we saw the focus go away from the black community or BLM. BLM kind of drifted away. LGBT kind of stepped in. Now that's kind of drifting away. And it seems like now the focus is becoming immigration. And Joe's kind of questioning, is this being done on purpose? I think that's a question we should all be asking, because it's happening so much and no one's stepping in, especially the president. The president could just say, he could sign some kind of order and say, no person who's seeking asylum can come into this country for the next 6 months, not forever, but for the next 6 months until we figure out where we can put these people and what we can do and how we can help. That's it. Because it's hindering a lot of the citizens. It's affecting a lot of the citizens in negative ways. So we need to stop. He could do that. He's not. Why? I don't know. I have some friends who say it's because they're looking for people who could vote. That could be true. Would make a lot of sense. But let's hear Joe Rogan talk about it. Right before I bring you there, I got to bring you to the store. The Soul Not For Sale. We got hoodies. We got shirts. We got t-shirts, mug, even kid sizes, tank tops for men and women. And we also have the newest, the We the People shirt. Klaus Schwab getting the middle finger as he deserves from We the People. We got tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts, women's, men's, all that good stuff. And you can get all of that at IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off, we got you. Put in the discount code IamCoachColin, all capital letters, all one word, one L in the name Colin gets you 10% off on us. And if you've done that with us already, we appreciate it. Let's get into the clip.
Yeah. No, and they're all terrified of a Twitter storm. They're all terrified of a Twitter storm. You see it in our politics, where somebody says something like the hot topic at the moment is immigration, particularly illegal immigration. So there's a lot of people coming from France to the UK illegally. They just jump in a boat from France illegally. And it's run by cartels and gangs. And the really sad thing is some of these people actually drown in the English Channel as a result. And they come to the UK. This needs to stop. You just can't have unfiltered illegal immigration. Yet you get people on, politicians, to go, look, we need to stop this. And then people are they're saying that one very famous ex-sportsman compares that to Nazi Germany.
It's like, why is it happening in this big rush? Is this engineered? Like, why is it happening like this? Like, what is it about this? It seems like at least some people want to keep the borders open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
It seems like something's changed where they've made it easier for people to just come across.
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, whose idea is that?
Right.
And then what is this crazy push where you want people to not have ID to vote, but you want people to have ID to make sure you have a vaccine passport or you can't work or get on a plane? And did you check any of these people to see if they're vaccinated when they came aboard? You really didn't, did you? So what are we doing here?
It's crazy.
It's like hundreds of thousands of people a month. It's crazy.
You brought it up earlier. I think we talked about this last time with Thomas Sowell, who's just like, I mean, I've read every book that he's ever published, and I just think he's amazing. We talked about the tragic vision versus the slightly more utopian way of looking at things. When you were talking about crime earlier, the tragic vision of life kind of says, if you look back at our history, you kind of get a sense of what human beings are.
Yeah.
And human beings are flawed. They're not perfect. They will commit crime. They will do terrible things. They will go to war.
they will do that. And so the only thing you can do is know that and then act accordingly, right? That means that you have to have a border. That means you have to have a police force. You have to recognize the fallibility of human beings and the societal dynamics as well. And then you can make good policy. That's how you make good policy. But if you live in this blue sky world only, the blue sky world is great for inspiring you to be better than your human instincts and all of that. But there's also a real world in which you have to be able to live in both. And it's hard. It's really hard. But if you can do that, you can hopefully make improvements because you're trying to be better. You're trying to speak to your own and other people's better angels. And at the same time, you have to recognize that not everybody's a good guy. Some people are terrorists. Some people are murderers. Some people are rapists. Some people will do things that you don't want to happen. And you have to also tackle that at the same time. And immigration, countries need borders, man. That's something people used to agree about. Left and right. I've quoted Barack Obama talking about this. We need borders.
Yeah, he was talking about that when he's running for president.
Yeah.
He's saying something that would get Trump canceled today.
Yeah.
It's
What do you think happened, Joe?
I don't know, but I don't know how it can keep happening. I don't know how anybody doesn't recognize that it's a problem and go, "Hey, let's sort this out." I don't know. You don't want to go full tinfoil hat. Nobody does. Nobody wants to are they engineering?
I mean, some people do. Let's be fair,
all
man.
the elements. Some people do. That's not important right now. We gotta talk about. If you just stop and think about all these converging factors, all these things that are happening simultaneously, right? Okay. First of all, massive dip in the economy from the COVID pandemic, businesses closing. Then you have George Floyd. Then you have riots. Then you have defund the police. Then you have massive theft. Do you know how much more theft there is? Lowe's hardware store lost, Google this. I think in 2022, they lost $900 million in theft.
Yes. I let that run a little long. Wanted to focus on just the immigration thing that they were talking about. But Bill O'Reilly was in an interview with Tucker Carlson recently, and he talked about this. He said, one person who's been advocating for open borders and putting hundreds of millions of dollars into seeing this happen is George Soros. That's just a fact. He's been doing that for a very long time. So is it engineered? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think, because it really does seem like it. It seems like if I was president, and my mind worked, say what you want. But, president, even if your mind doesn't work, you have a bunch of people around you who are telling you what's going on in the world. You can't just be focusing on, Europe and other places in the world. You have to be focused on home and what's going on. You'd have to hear from at least one of your advisors, one of the people around you, watching a TV, something that people are getting impacted negatively from the borders just being open. You'd have to at least see a few scenes of people rushing in by the thousands every single day. You'd have to understand that that's not going to be a good thing for the people of the country. Now, if you're looking for votes, it's a great thing because they're all going to credit whoever's in charge, right? It's like, hey, you want to stay, the person that let you in is going to let you stay. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. But you'd think that they would stop this. If you saw the people being impacted negatively, the people of the country, you think you'd stop whatever it was right away, but they're not. They're just kind of letting it happen more and more and more and more. And then one city like New York, oh, we're going to be a sanctuary city. And then so many people come that they're like, this is going to destroy the city. When you hear someone who runs New York, the mayor Eric Adams, ridiculous guy. But when you hear him saying, this is going to destroy the city. When you hear people, his residents saying, these people are robbing us, they're disrespecting us. When you see that happening, you'd think you'd be like, okay, this needs to stop. Maybe even massive deportation would be the thing to go with. Like it's not the greatest option because a lot of those people could be in danger. You don't know. They just want a better life, a lot of them, but you have to worry about the people who are actually Americans first. You have to. It's weird that today that's a very far right or xenophobic thing to say, that you should focus on Americans first. You just should. And also, this gentleman, Francis Foster, he was talking about how it happens in Europe. Every country should be focusing on their citizens first. If every country did that, there wouldn't even be that many people trying to rush into America. I don't know. It does seem engineered, in my opinion. It really does. It seems like, I don't know. It seems a little planned, in my opinion. Or maybe not planned exactly, but now that it's happening, they're understanding how this could benefit the people in power. So they're allowing it more so. Maybe I'll go with that instead. Not planned, but definitely they're allowing it. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think. And let me know also, you're in America. 90% of people who watch this channel, they're Americans. How is this impacting you? Are you feeling this? Are you seeing the encampments? Are you having that type of thing happen to you? You know, I know if you're from New York, you're 100% feeling that. I know it. But, you know, let me know elsewhere if this is impacting you, if you're seeing a lot of this. And Texas. Oh, God, Texas. Texas, I think, is even worse than New York, because Texas gets, no offense to anybody, but they get the fresh ones. They just get, like, they just come right over and they're there. I don't know. And then they get shipped to New York and they get shipped to different places, but a lot of them just stay in Texas, especially when there's a huge Latin community that they can just get to and start speaking with. But the people, I don't know. It's all over the place. But let me know if you think this is engineered. And you know what else I love? I love the fact that Joe just can't stay away from questioning things. You know, I made an episode a little while back about how he was talking about how he's going to change things and, you know, not criticize people, because he could have easily took the soft way out and said, oh, well, it's such a tough job, and what do you do? And these people want this and that. But you can't always take that route. Acting like that isn't always the high road. You know, sometimes people feel like being as compassionate as possible or tolerant as possible is the high road. It's not always the high road. Sometimes the high road is questioning things and saying, how could this be happening? Why would the people in power want to do this? You know, when it comes to him talking about Gavin Newsom, or, you know, you talking about any person who's in power, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to pick apart what they do a little bit, because there's supposed to be a tension between the public and the government. Not a violent tension, but a tension of, I'm watching you and I want to know what you're doing to fix this. And I don't think you're doing a good job here, and I don't think you're doing a good job there. That's how it's supposed to work, until it gets so bad that the people come together and say, you're bad. You have to leave. You should be leaving right now. Somehow, at some point, it got turned the other way. Now the government's pointing at everybody and watching them and saying, you're using too much carbon, and you're eating too much meat, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and you shouldn't be gathering here together, and you shouldn't be saying this, and that's misinformation. Somehow it got flipped around. I don't know when that happened, but I'd like to go back to the time before. Other than that, like the video if you haven't liked it already. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And turn that notification bell on. Other than that, I'm out.